This is Jay Dreamer here, back with another recap for the NFL season week 1. What a week it was, what a low-scoring week it was. It was a tough week for the offenses overall, besides a few, but we're going to get into that. So we're going to touch on the Ravens versus the Bills. 41-40, the Bills came out on top. What an offensive game this was. There was absolutely no defense played in this game. It was a well-coached game on both sides. I feel like McDermott and John Harbaugh coached a very good game. But Lamar Jackson played excellent. He had a lot of great passes and a lot of great runs. He had 2 touchdowns, which was excellent. Derrick Henry had 2 touchdowns as well, which was excellent. But we're going to get into the fumble. We're going to go to the Bills. Josh Allen had a fantastic game. Had 4 touchdowns in total. He let everybody get the ball. Everybody had their fair share, and James Cook had his touchdown. But what a game this was. I thought the game was over when it was 40-25 with 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter, but Josh Allen said, "I am the reigning MVP." That is what he said. He made sure that everybody, and I mean everybody, understood that he was one of them ones, that he was one of the best quarterbacks by the end of this game. I thought the game was over with 7 minutes left, and Derrick Henry, eventually he fumbled. It happens. Before that, their rookie kicker, Tyler Loop for the Ravens, he missed the extra point, which came back to haunt them at the very end of the game. But Derrick Henry fumbled. It happens. He's going to bounce back. We know that. He's a Hall of Famer. Tyler Loop, he's a rookie, but he looked good besides that. It happens. It happens, Ravens fans. But the defense, the pass rush, the corners, they had a tough night. Josh Allen, he just wanted it more. Lamar Jackson did all he could. He did all he could. There was nothing more he could do. I do not like the narrative that John Harbaugh should have went for it on 4th down, when if he did go for it and the Ravens didn't execute and get the first down and the Bills went down and scored and won the game off of that, he would have gotten so much slack for that, and the entire narrative would be a whole completely different story. People would have been calling for his job. We're not about to flip this on John Harbaugh. He did not fumble the ball, nor did he miss that extra point. Now, like I said, both of those players are going to bounce back, but it happens. Competitive games are going to happen. Offensive shootouts are going to happen. I don't know why Ravens fans are trying to push the blame on one person, another person, the next person. It's not that serious. It's the first game. Wait till the playoffs to start complaining, please. But that was probably the best game I've ever seen in my entire life, and I've been a football fan for very long, let alone a Broncos fan for very long. I've never seen a game that good and that offensively sound. That was amazing. On to the Steelers and the Jets. 34-32, the Steelers beat the Jets. Now, this was a revenge game for both Justin Fields and Aaron Rodgers. Now, did I think this was going to be one of the most high-scoring games this weekend? Absolutely not. It's the Jets and the Steelers. Both are supposed to have, stout defenses. Both have defensive head coaches. But they proved everybody wrong. Or at least they proved me wrong. I did not expect to see an offensive game for both teams. But Aaron Rodgers played great. Justin Fields played really good. I actually didn't expect Justin Fields to really throw the ball as good as he did. But that Ohio State connection with Garrett Wilson is still there. It's still there, and it's forever there from what I can see. What a great showing by that game. I can see on Aaron Rodgers' face that he wanted that game bad. Now on to my Broncos versus the Tennessee Titans and Cam Ward's first preseason game. My Broncos won 22-12 in a very interesting game, might I say. My Broncos looked absolutely fantastic. Fantastic on defense. We will be the number 1 defense by the end of the year. Mark my words. But that offense needs some work as a Denver Broncos fan. Now, first game of the year, first game jitters. Got a few rookies on the team. We just getting things together on offense. It was a lot of miscommunication. It was a lack of attention to detail, which was very detrimental, as we saw on Sunday. We just didn't look good. The chemistry wasn't there. It was a lot of play calling moments where I was questioning a little bit, like that that 4th and 8, while we were already up 8, into a play action on 4th and 8, 2 crossers. Now, I will say Bo Nix did not have his best game, which happens. His second year, it happens. He threw 2 picks, and he fumbled the ball. It happens. He's going to bounce back. Bo Nix is a great quarterback, and he's going to lead us for years to come, including this year. And that's just going to be one bad game. It's okay. It happens. I still believe in my quarterback. And I'm sure Broncos Nation does. I'm just reassuring Broncos Nation because the game for our offense was really rough. Sutton played really good. R.J. Harvey played really good. Dobbins played really good. The O-line struggled a bit, too, to protect Bo Nix. That was clear. That was very clear. It was miscommunication, I think, between Adam Trautman and Bo Nix, because I could see the frustration on Bo Nix's face when that play happened. If you're watching the game, you know exactly what play I'm talking about. It was just a lot of a lack of identity that didn't look like Sean Payton's offense and the way he wants it to be executed from a fan's point of view, in my opinion. Now, I know Sean Payton and, Bo Nix, they're going to be on top of it in practice. They're going to fix everything out. We'll be ready for the Colts this upcoming Sunday. But it was rough, and that's okay. It happens. I'd rather us get our rust out now, get our mess-ups out now, so by the time we start playing teams like the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Eagles, teams like that, we could be ready and prepared to play at our best selves no matter win or loss. So it was a rough game. Cam Ward is going to be really good. His accuracy is top-tier quarterback-like. It's Josh Allen-esque, in my opinion. He's going to be really good. Get him a few receivers, draft him a few receivers, free agency, get him a few receivers. He's going to be a really good quarterback. He's going to be one of the top quarterbacks. He's going to be in the Lamar discussions, the Burrow discussions, the Patrick Mahomes discussions, the Jordan Loves discussions, Jalen Hurts, all the top quarterbacks, all of the up-and-coming talented quarterbacks. He's going to be in that discussion really soon. To go on to the Lions versus the Packers, 13-27, the Packers won. I've seen a lot in this game. Micah Parsons definitely changes that defense for the Packers in a way that I can imagine. I can see that they are excited to have Micah Parsons, and I am very happy to see that because he should be in a place where they want to see him exceed while paying him as well. It was a very, very, very interesting game. I noticed that the Lions really struggled. Now, I told everybody before the seasons that the Lions would take a while to, come up to speed because they lost their offensive coordinator and Ben Johnson and their defensive coordinator, which are now both head coaches. It really showed in this game, in my opinion. The offense just looks stagnant. It looks stagnant. I do expect Jared Goff to pick it up. I do expect the O-line to pick it up. The running backs to pick it up. John Mary Gibbs. All of these guys are excellent players. I expect them to compete and be, honestly, one of the Super Bowl contenders. But I asked the Lions fans to give the Lions grace because they are without Ben Johnson and their defensive coordinator for last year, which were very, very big parts of their success and their creativity on both sides of the ball. Back to the Packers. They're still trying to figure out their top weapon, which is okay. They have a lot of top receivers plus Josh Jacobs. I think they should lean a bit more on the running game, even though they did. But I feel like they should lean even more on the running game to open up the play action. And then you can figure out, okay, who do I like in certain one-on-one situations? Who am I going to put on specific routes? They still have, I think, a receiver that is coming back. But, yeah, the Packers are going to be really good. I thought they were going to win the division before the year started, in my opinion, because they went through the least changes. And then now with adding Micah Parsons on top of that, I feel like they're going to be really good. On to the Vikings and the Bears. It looked very rough at first for the Vikings, and I thought the Bears were about to blow them out. So the game started off, and Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson's offense looked really good at first. Caleb Williams was making really good plays, really good reads. The O-line was protecting him, and this is all in the first half. The O-line was protecting him. He was making great reads, and I was like, you know what? They might be really good on offense this year, because the Vikings have a Brian Flores defense, And if you know you're going up against Brian Flores, he's going to blitz you. But if you can beat that blitz, you're going to win a game. And they were executing on offense in the first half. They had a lot of 3-and-outs. They still had moments of where I was like, okay, they still figuring out things. But Caleb Williams looked really good. He was getting it to everybody. He looked really mobile too. I didn't know Caleb Williams was that mobile. I know he could run, but he was really running this game. And the Vikings, I feel like they really struggled in the first half. JJ McCarthy, he had his struggles. This is technically by being real, this is his rookie year. That was his real first game ever. So, I could see he was struggling getting through the progressions, it's your first time being a starting quarterback in the NFL. It happens. I expect JJ McCarthy to be real good, but he just started off slow, which is fine. He also threw a pick six. So I was like, yeah, this is just going to be one of them games I thought they were going to get blown out the water. And then the second half came, and as soon as the Bears missed that one field goal in the third quarter, momentum completely shifted. I don't know what exactly happened, but it is as if Kevin O'Connell's Vikings woke up after the Bears missed that field goal. Everything went left from the Bears after that. Everything went left. The Vikings really started moving down the field after that. They got into the red zone so fast after that. And J.J. McCarthy started clicking on all cylinders. And then he hit Justin Jefferson in the end zone for a great touchdown and a great pass by him under pressure. He threaded the needle on that pass. That was a really good pass. And then the Bears continued to have 3-and-outs. They continued to struggle. And then the Vikings then scored again. And then they scored again. It just went downhill after the Bears missed that field goal. It went completely downhill. I don't know what happened. I thought the Bears were going to have a chance to come back after the Vikings, came back up to speed and got the lead, but that was not the case. And J.J. McCarthy, he fully stepped up. He made sure. He left his mark, especially that pass to Aaron Jones. That was a great ball. That was an excellent ball to Aaron Jones. Great pass and a great catch. It was really good. I'm a little worried for the Bears because I really thought, it's the first game. I'm not worried for the Bears, but I just thought they were going to finish it off against, in J.J. McCarthy's first game as a starting quarterback. They had the lead in the first half, and then once the momentum shifted, they couldn't. Once the momentum shifted, they couldn't come back from it. Yeah, the Bears, they just gotta finish games, and I feel like they'll be fine. That was a tough divisional loss. I feel like they needed that, but they'll see them again. It happens. I know this is Ben Johnson's first year, but I feel like they just could have finished the game off. That's all I'm saying. I feel like they could have finished the game off no matter what. And last but not least, the Cowboys versus the Eagles. I didn't touch on this game first because I feel like, and also the Chiefs and the Chargers. I didn't really touch on those games earlier in this video because they happened early already. People have already talked about it. This is like, a fresh recap of the Sunday games. But I can touch on those. The Cowboys versus the Eagles. Dak played amazing. CeeDee just got to catch the ball and they'll be perfectly fine. He's going to bounce back. He's a great receiver. I'm not worried about CeeDee Lamb. George Pickens is really good too. They'll be fine. They played better than I thought on defense after that weather thing, the lightning strike that they had to, they had to stop the game for an hour or what. So they came back and their defense played really good. I thought they actually could have won, but, it happens. I'm glad everybody's safe. Players and coaches and staff and fans included. I'm glad nothing happened bad with the weather. But, yeah, the Eagles, Jalen Hurts played excellent. I know A.J. Brown didn't get the ball that much. He only had one reception late in the game. I don't know if that was on Jalen Hurts. I don't know if the Cowboys had a defensive scheme specifically for A.J. Brown, whether it was two people on him, or I don't know if that was the new offensive coordinator. But he's going to get the ball throughout the season. They're going to need him to, perform and get the ball way more in order for them to go back to the playoffs and possibly even go back to the Super Bowl for the NFC. So they'll be fine. Both teams will be fine. A great game. And then last but not least, the Chiefs and the Chargers. I'm happy the Chargers won because I am a Broncos fan. They're both in my division, but I would rather the Chiefs lose because they are, they won the Super Bowl, in the last 2 out of 4 years, 3 out of 4 years, one of the two. But Justin Herbert looks really good. I'm glad that Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh let him throw the ball way more. I didn't expect that. Everybody expected him to run the ball with Amari Hampton and Najee Harris. They did, but Justin Herbert was throwing the ball regardless. They said, you're going to come out here and win this game because you're Justin Herbert, and that's exactly what happened. I'm not worried about the Chiefs. I know they lost, but they always start off slow. They're missing Worthy because he got, hurt in the beginning of the game. I really hope he comes back to full health really soon so they can perform at their highest potential. And they're missing Rashee Rice. He'll be back, week 7. So they'll be fine. I'm not worried about the Chiefs. They're not falling off or anything. I'm not saying they're going to be the best team, but when the playoffs come, we know the Chiefs will be there waiting for everybody. Every road leads to Chiefs Kingdom, unfortunately, whether they got to go to you or whether you got to go to them. You got to get through Patrick Mahomes in the AFC to get to the Super Bowl. That's just what it is. So this first game doesn't mean nothing. He looked really good this game, so it's fine. But that was my NFL recap. This is Jay Dreamin'. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. We're doing a week NFL recap of all games or all of the top popular games every week. Please follow the TikTok, follow the Instagram. Of course, subscribe to the YouTube. We'll be back. I love and appreciate y'all. See y'all then.